Whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lost Sheep Podcast. My name is Cole Bissett, and I'm joined here today by the one and only Nazario Pangallo.
And welcome back, folks, for we believe episode number 7. And unfortunately, we have only one microphone again. We are wizards, absolute geniuses when it comes to everything but this technology, apparently, because we cannot figure out this audio tech if our lives depended on it. If Cole and I were stuck on an island and someone gave us a mission to set up this audio to work properly for one singular episode, we would die. That the show would be over, the podcast would be finished because we cannot figure this out. Cole, what do you have to say about this complete debacle?
I think it's kind of crazy because I'm a mechanical engineer, so technical stuff like this should be in my biz, but it's not. And you're in media and broadcasting, audio and visual should be your thing. So I guess we're both failing to do our jobs correctly. So yeah, that's why we're doing this. Yeah. So go college. Yeah. Anyways, we're chatting about our prayer practicing pray. What is it?
Practical prayer practices.
You sure it's that? 100%. Practical prayer practices of last week. So I say we just go ahead and talk out how they went last week, and then we'll do the actual segment in the middle of the episode. Okay, so mine went pretty well. There was, I think, one day that I forgot. But to remind everybody what our challenge was last week, it was to say, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Say what we were grateful for every day from God. And so, yeah, it went pretty good throughout the week. I did miss one day. But, yeah. How'd yours go? Did you do well?
Well, to be honest with you, sometimes, some days, I would forget that the reason I was doing it was for our practical prayer practices. And I was just thanking God throughout the day. And then later in the day, I would realize oh, I remember that. I already did that. And then I would just do it again if I needed to, or if I had more, because you always can think of more. So yeah, pretty solid. We have a pretty exciting one coming up later in the episode. Going to be a really good mental practice, little food for thought for you guys. Going to be a great practical prayer practice for this week. But as you can see, we did miss last week. That's okay. We had family come in for the weekend, and so we were both enjoying our times with our families and our girlfriends over the Labor Day weekend, so we gave you guys a break. Funny enough, it's called Labor Day. We did not do our labor of making this podcast, but that is all right because we are back, and as you can see from the shirt, Alabama, it is football season. Football season is back, so we know Sunday is going to be a little bit of an interesting time because the episodes are going to be coming out during football games. That's okay. You don't have to hit it right on that 3 o'clock on Sunday movement. You can just wait until Monday. It'll be in your podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever different way that you get your podcast. So feel free to follow us over there on all the podcast channels. Check out our YouTube channel. We post shorts over there. We post the full episodes if you feel like looking at our beautiful faces. So yeah, and for Cole and I, this is going to be this upcoming week after this episode is released, our first time leading our Bible studies. We're very excited for that. If you were here for the last episode, you heard about our recruiting work going on between our Bible studies. We got it figured out, our times now. I'll be doing some Thursday afternoon, more like an early evening Bible study. Cole, yours is, I believe, on a Tuesday night, a little bit of a late nighter. Cole.
8:30 to 9:30.
So a little 8:30 to 9:30 action. Any of our Bible study members here on the podcast listening right now, feel free to, if you want to reach out, send questions, messages, whatever it may be. We'd love to have you on. Cole is messing with the couch, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to just in a little bit. We had a pretty solid 2 weeks. I would say one of my favorite things of this past week and a half, 2 weeks since we've had our last episode, was Sunday. And we waited. We actually stayed up on Saturday night because the football game, and I was working my first football game as a media member, so I didn't get back until late. I still had some work to do, write articles afterwards. So we all wanted to sleep in after that, and we decided to go to the 6 p.m. Mass. And so we planned, because we knew there was going to be a ton of people there, that we needed to get there early so all of our families members could have seats. And so we get there, and it was like maybe 5:45, 15 minutes, 20 minutes before Mass, and actually they started a pre-Mass rosary. I was not expecting that. The first time that Cole and I really gotten there that early on a Sunday for Mass. So they had the rosary, and for me it was just a great time to focus on the meditation of the rosary, whatever mysteries we were doing, and just great conversation, relationship with God before Mass to get prepared for Mass. So that was really my spiritual moment of the week. That was really, really good for me, and just great meditation and good reflection on everything on the weekend. And so we kind of took that into the week, and it's been a pretty solid week for us over here. What about your side over there, Mr. Bissett?
Week's been pretty good. I'd like to say I really don't like feeling shorter than you right now. The couch has sunk right here, and so Nazario is literally like a foot taller than me, and it's really weird looking up at him, because I'm used to like being way taller than him. My week went pretty well. Like he said, our family came over, got to spend time with our girlfriends, and that was a lot of fun. Threw the football around, got the swing dance. Finally, been a while since I've been doing that, and so yeah, I had a very pleasant weekend. And then this week came along, and school came up, and just had to get back into life. But yeah, week wasn't bad. Tried to stay dedicated to my homework, get it done, and made the week a lot smoother. Not really any issues, but I think test week starts the week after next week, so that's when I really get into the grime of everything. But yeah, so let's dive into our quote today. I saw this quote on a podcast on YouTube. The quote is by Russell Brand, who, if you know anything about him, I don't believe he was Christian 4 or 5 years ago. And I think he recently just really started being like a Christian outreach speaker. But he was on a podcast, and he said, the world does not need people to believe in God. Need more people. Sorry, that's a big detail. The world does not need more people to believe in God. It just needs the people that do believe in God to start acting like it. And so, yeah, I wanted Nazario to start off actually on his explanation of this quote. So I'll give it to you.
Yeah, Cole, I wanted you to introduce that, then you could throw it back over to me, and then I'm going to throw it back to him. We were talking about this before. We have a great plan of how to execute this podcast quote discussion. I'm going to read it back one more time. The world does not need more people to believe in God, but the people who do believe to start acting like it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get fired up right here, okay? Fired the heck up, because I hope that if you're listening to this podcast that you do believe in God, and if you don't, that is okay, because you are on the journey to beginning it, starting by listening to this podcast. But for my people out there that do believe in God, take a moment, pause this episode real quick, take 15 seconds to try to really reflect on, do you need to start acting like you believe in God, or if you believe that you had already started that movement. Take a quick pause. We'll be right back. All right. So if you had took that pause, hopefully you've reflected on that, and you're either like, man, I started that, and I'm pumped. I'm doing it. I'm doing that thing. And if not, if you pause and you reflect and you're like, shoot, I do need to start that thing. I can do both sides over here. So we're going to start with the people who already started acting like they believe in God. We're going to start over there. That is awesome. We are so thankful that you have started that journey. And we were talking on Monday night at our Bible study meeting, like, if we're truly about this Christian life, and truly about the Christian teachings, scripture, everything like that, then we truly believe it, right? We truly believe it. Like, we right here, that's why we're doing this. We truly believe this because we want to reach people. We want people to know the message of God, and we want them to know God's love and encounter him in a special, special way. And if you believe in God and you've been acting like it, I'm sure it's for those same reasons, that you have felt the love of God. You want other people to experience it, because there's nothing better than it. And we understand, when we've come to that point in our lives, we understand that's the true craving and satisfaction that our heart needs and is longing for. And we know when we look out and see other people that that is what they're truly longing for as well. We see in their brokenness, in their vices, in their decisions to follow the world in whatever way it may be, that they are doing this because they are longing for something deeper. They are just misguided right now, but they are truly longing for God, and they're trying to figure it out. That's why they need us. That's why we've started to act on this and started to try to get people to bring them to God. And if it's hard for you right now, if you started this journey and it's not working very good, and you don't know how you're going to make an impact, and you don't know what purpose God has for you, just keep surrendering more and more to Him. God has given you great interests, great gifts, special to you. He has given each and every one of us a special mission. Our priest was talking about this the days during the week. Only you can accomplish the mission that God has given for you. Cole has a different mission than I do. I have a different mission than Cole. Right now, our mission is converged, living together and doing this podcast. Hopefully, we can keep this podcast going, and that is part of our mission together. But Cole also has a different mission, and I have a different mission and a different avenue that we're going to go along in different ways. We have to stay on our mission and do our thing. If someone else is out there doing something, we should be thankful and we should be happy that God has sent them on that mission and they're following their mission. But we need to know ourselves and focus on ourselves to know, okay, this is what I believe the path that God has given me. And quick little personal reflection on this is obviously big sports fan over here, involved in sports media. I know I debate it all the time. Like, I'll be praying with myself, like, sports? Like, how am I, like, sports? Like, what? How is he going to do this? Like, I'm sitting there like, I love sports. I want to work in sports, but, like, is this really it? Like, how am I really going to make an impact? Like, I don't know. He's got a plan. I've got to trust it myself, and I'm working on it. I'm trying to be, a little bit vulnerable with you guys right here. And it's hard. Sometimes you don't know how he's going to use it, but you've got to trust the gifts and desires that he's given you. He's given me a crazy passion to work in sports. He would not give that to me if he wanted me to go be an engineer. He just wouldn't. That just would not make sense. So I've got to trust him in that, and we're working on it. We're working on it. And you guys that have started acting like you believe in God, you will continue to work on it for all of your life. Keep trusting God and keep surrendering to Him. Now, if you're the people that reflected and were like, shoot, I haven't started to act like I believe in God. Now is the stinking time. Let's go right here. Right here. Take another pause after you hear me after you hear me say this. I want you to sit down. Not sit down. I want you to get on your knees. Open your hands wherever you may be. Well, hopefully when you're in a private area, because it's going to be really weird if you just do it in public, and I don't want you to feel weirded out. Once you get to a private place, get on your knees. I want you to just open your arms and ask God. Just pray. Just open yourself and say, God, I surrender to you. I surrender everything to you. I'm open to you. Help me to start acting like I believe in you. That's the first thing. Go pause this episode. Go do that right now. And now you're back. And now you're back. That's all you need to do. Sometimes all we have to do is just take that next step. Just put ourselves there. Just put ourselves in the face of God. Just allow ourselves to say, God, I'm here right now. Do whatever you need. And just allow Him to do His thing. Allow Him to do His thing. We need His strength. We need His love. We need His everything. We need everything God is to do this. We can't do this on our own accord. So it starts with prayer, and it starts by asking God to allow us to do this and allow Him to work through us. Because the way that we start acting like we believe in God is by allowing God to work through us, because we believe in Him and His power. All right, that was a long tangent. Here you go, Mr. Bissett. Wait, hold on. Let me say something real quick. The world does not need more people to believe in God, but the people who do to start acting like it. Keep acting like it if you've already started. If you haven't started, now's the time to start. Here you go, Mr. Bissett.
It's always funny to see Nazario fired up about things. He gets really passionate. It's one of his more fun qualities. Just entertaining to watch. But yeah, I 100% agree with what he says. I was supposed to get up here and counter, but I have changed my mind. Which doesn't happen very frequently. But I have changed my mind. And so originally I was going to make the statement, like, the world does need more people to believe in God. And I don't know if I agree with the full reality of the statement. The world does need more people to believe in God. But what's more important is the people who already believe in God to start acting like it, because it's going to bring more people to God. And what I mean by that is, if you believe in God, you should be living it out in your day-to-day life. People should be able to see it from you. They should be able to see the goodness inside of you and the goodness that you're pursuing in life. And I'm not asking you to go to a strip club and proclaim the name of Jesus. I'm not. That's the extreme.
A strip club reference was not on my bingo card.
I'm not asking you to go to do that. I'm not asking you to go to a bar with a bunch of drunk people and proclaim the name of Jesus. I'm not asking you to go anywhere and proclaim the name of Jesus. I am asking you to live by God's standards and the morality that you should give yourself in your life. That's all I'm asking you to, and myself included. Right? People should be able to walk by you and talk to you and be like, dang, I wish I had more of God in my life. Like, that should be one of the first things they think about. Your reality and your belief in God should honestly be a huge part of what defines you as a person. And so I think as long as people start to act like they believe in God, more people will follow and more people will end up with God in heaven.
Were you good? Are you?
Yeah.
Did you mark? So I'm gonna throw us back to our quote from last week, and slightly, you'll see. So last time we had an episode, our quote was, "Let go of what has, or let go of what was, accept what is, and have hope of what will be." So where I'm gonna throw this is sometimes you can think to yourself with what Cole said, that when people interact with you, that they should realize that they want more of God in their life. And while that is true, and hopefully it will happen for some people, for others, they might not even comprehend what is coming out through us is from God. And they might not recognize that it's God that they're searching for. So instead of having maybe this higher expectation of, yes, they need to know that God is working in and through me, how about we just keep it simple, and how about we try to have them realize, wow, I wish I had the love, the passion, the energy, the positivity, and just the upliftedness and the joy that person has. If we keep it at those simple terms, that's how we get them to understand, okay, wow, these are the things that are coming through from these people. Where are they getting this? They're getting this from God. That's going to take a little bit more of a journey to get there. But if we can first get them to recognize and realize all those things that I just mentioned, we can draw them in closer. People don't want to be around a negative Nelly, just Debbie Downer, a party pooper. Nobody wants to be around those type of people. We're not supposed to be those type of people. We are supposed to let go of what was, which frees us, accept what is, to be present, and to have hope of what will be, to be joyful and passionate and positive. All those things should be traits that we constantly live throughout our lives. And people may say, well, there's these tough times. I have this, I have that, I have this. That is perfect. That is exactly when people need to see, wow, this person is at the absolute valley of their life, but they're so positive, they're so joyful, they have so much good coming out through them, no matter what is going on. I mean, that is exactly what draws people in. That is exactly how Jesus taught us to live. And Jesus went through valleys throughout the entirety of his ministry. He knew that he was going to be crucified on the cross and be ridiculed by all these people, yet he still had to go out and be positive and minister to them and heal them and be a miracle. Do what he does, love, even though he knew what was going to happen. Now, obviously, we don't know the future, but it's different for us, right? We could be at a terrible point in our lives where something awful has happened. And yes, there are times for, what's the right word? Grieving. That's what I was looking for. There are times for grieving, and there should be times where we get emotional and sad, and that's okay. And that's when we can turn to God, turn to the people that are close to us to help us get through those moments. But it's also incredible times when we've worked through that and we've kind of come to terms with it ourselves, that we can turn that into something great, because only God can turn these bad moments into something wonderful through us. And that is what, realistically, what makes following God even more awesome, is that he can turn these terrible moments into something so good. And so, yeah, just the traits of what make us Christian are what people need to recognize in us. So, yeah, that's 2 long tangents from me, Cole. So, here you go.
It's kind of funny because I did not think I was going to end up quoting myself in this one. I joked about it with you before about how I was not going to end up quoting myself, but I think I'm about to. Um, uh, and it's not like I'm not trying to be arrogant about it. I just think it's just what I want to talk about. So the quote that I used, I was sitting here doing the dishes, and for some reason, I just wanted to drop a.
Wait,
Cooking the
Did you guys hear that?
Cooking the dishes.
cold did the dishes?
Oh yeah. I was doing the dishes. I cleaned the dishes. I put
Hallelujah.
I put it in the dishwasher, and Zach was at the table, and I was like, Zach, do you want to hear something? And I was like, I just asked him. I said, what is the biggest enemy of perseverance? And he's like, some probably like what did he say? I don't know. He just said a long word, and I was like, no. And I said, you know what the biggest enemy of perseverance is? Procrastination. Procrastination is the biggest enemy of perseverance. And I struggle with this a lot, right? Because I've tried to encourage myself to run while I've been here, and I have procrastinated heavily. And so now it's a lot harder to start up running because I've procrastinated so long. But I think what Nazario has been trying to emphasize since the beginning of this episode about this quote and telling the people who already believe in God to start acting like it is stop procrastinating. There's no excuse. It's procrastination. Stop procrastinating and follow the Lord, right? We talked about this in our discipleship youth group, not youth group, discipleship program, focus program, right? And we talked about what like fatherhood means. What does it mean to follow Jesus? Like what does it mean when we say that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life? And I brought up fatherhood, and I brought up how when I was a child and I looked at my dad, I was like, this is the guy. Like, I got to do what he does. I got to live the life he does. I got to do this. I got to listen to what he says and all this. And we treat him almost like a god, essentially. You really do. And you got to follow Jesus the way he does. And so when you're looking at Jesus, it's almost the same sort of thing, right? You're laying down every aspect of your being for God, for Jesus, because he is the truth. Like, that's what him being the truth asks of us. It's to believe him wholeheartedly and to give our life to him, right? And so I say this because there is no procrastination for God, right? You can try to run away as long as you want, as far away as you can, but God's always going to reach to you and ask you to come back, right? So procrastination, all it's going to do is drag on the inevitable. Follow God. Follow God. It is a very, very simple process. All you got to do is open up your heart, be like, God, I love you. Please guide me on what I need to do for these next steps. But yeah, so I think we're at a good time to move on to our...
It is time, ladies and gentlemen, as Cole looks for his transition. Welcome to Practical Prayer Practices, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for our second edition of PPPs. And last time, as we talked about in the intro, we challenged you guys to every day look around, find something in your life, and tell God how grateful you are and how thankful you are that that thing is in your life, that thing happened, whatever it may be. Something of thankfulness, something of gratefulness. And we got another one coming back at you, hitting it right down to the core. We're going with your practical prayer practice for this week is to meditate and to figure out what is something in your life that you need to prune.
And he's not talking about Loki and pruning people. He's talking about something else.
I was going to say that, but I didn't know if people would get it. But yeah,
There you go.
Loki. Anyways, prune. Find out what you need to prune in your life. Now, this can take meditation, self-reflection. This can take talking to other people, whatever it may be. Find out what God is trying to show you in your life that you know is not leading you towards his kingdom. You know is not glorifying him, but that is a struggle for you, and it's hard for you to not do it. Try to figure out what that thing is, and try to figure out how you are going to eliminate it from your life. How you're going to take that stick from Loki, hit that thing, prune it, and get it out of here. We remove it from our universe, remove it from our timeline. That is what we are planning to do. Reflect, figure out what the thing is. You don't have to comment, actually, if you want. If you would like for us to help you with that, give us our advice on it, feel free to DM us, message us, text us, call us, whatever it may be. We'd love to help you with this thing, and we are going to be joining in on this. Hopefully, we each can figure something out, and we'll work on that. We'll see how it goes, but hopefully we can join in. This is supposed to be a community thing. Hopefully we can come back and next week tell you about what we're working on pruning. So, here you go, Cole.
So by pruning, we don't just mean, like, it doesn't have to be something bad. It can be something that's just taking up a lot of time in your life where you could be spent doing something better. We talked about order in discipleship today, in the order of, like, do's and don'ts. And so we talked about food, right? You have to eat. It is of highest importance, right? And so rather than go and hang out with friends if you haven't eaten all day and it's 4 o'clock and you still haven't eaten food, go home and go eat food. I promise you that's way more important than your friends, right? I guess what we're asking is for you to find something in your life that's of low order, but it's taking precedence over something that's high order, right? And it may not be leading you away from God, but it could just be something that you should try to fix in your life because it's something that needs to be fixed. We haven't got ours yet. We'll tell you what it is by the end of the week. We will have done it all throughout this week because we're supposed to do it for our discipleship anyways. So, we have to decide by Sunday night so we can do it all week next week. Yep. And then we also have to decide on another thing, but that's for next week for y'all to figure out as well. And we'll do it with you guys then as well. So it's a 2-week program for us, I guess. But yeah, so just try to find something in your life that is taking precedence over something that is of higher importance. Print it. That's all we ask you to do. All right. I say we move on to our next segment, which is the Shepherd of the Week, which I don't think we agreed on one, but I thought of one.
Good.
So.
Do the music. No, you got it.
On the music? But you had it. I don't remember what it is.
Doesn't matter. Just do your thing.
Shepherd of the Week. All right. Welcome to the Shepherd Week segment, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen. Welcome to the Shepherd of the Week. So today, I wanted to do something a little different. I'm not selecting a specific person. I'm selecting a group of people. And it's going to sound so biased. So I apologize to all of you. It's not need to breathe if you're thinking that.
I don't have any thoughts.
Oh, you weren't thinking that? You don't have any thoughts. Do you have guesses? I can give you a category. No? You don't even want to try? What? You got to try. It'd be more fun that way. It's more entertaining. Trivia. Sports is the category. Guess number 1. It's a group.
The Argentina national football team. Soccer.
Not soccer.
I got nothing. The U.S. Olympic team.
Not the Olympics. Think of sports. What's very popular here?
The Alabama football team.
The Alabama football team, ladies and gentlemen. I showed this picture to Nazario at the end of the football game last week. And what I really appreciated, which has never been a practice, I think, maybe it was in the locker room, but never publicly, in the Alabama football team, is they all got out to the end zone before the game started and knelt and faced the audience together. I think that is huge. You don't see that in a lot of really big schools these days. In the smaller schools, you see it pretty much everywhere. But like in big Division I schools like Clemson and LSU and Georgia, not to call out any of them, I don't know if any of them actually do it or not. But like bigger schools, you don't see it that frequently because they're so big. So it was really neat to see the entire football team united in prayer, kneeling on the ground. That was really neat because I think Kalen DeBoer, they really respect that in him, and so I think they like to follow. And I also wasn't just going to say that. I think our guys this year and last year have led a life of virtue a lot more than I've seen in previous years. A lot more leadership, a lot more resilience in their faith. It's really cool seeing them talk about God and how much he means to their lives. And it's really cool looking in the NFL and seeing some of our old guys like Tua get up there and say man, it really bothers me that some of these games are on Sundays. And he's like, it's really hard for me. And I think he was one of them said they had a priest do personal masses for them so he could make it or something like that. And so it was really intriguing to see this in this culture in Alabama football, because Nick Saban did this as well, but they didn't kneel in the field. I think he did it in the locker room, where he emphasized his faith with them, and he's very, very devout Catholic and Christian. So yeah, I just really wanted to kind of highlight them for the week. I'm sure you have plenty to talk about them.
I mean, I could go anyway, but I would just like to say that when you guys see all this bad things that are going around the world, just remember that God is always working. And it has not been more evident than now, at least for myself, to see all the athletes that have been supporting God. Yes, there's ones that may do this, they may do that. But the outpouring of post-game interviews, pre-game interviews, prayers on the field has only just exploded. You've seen it around the country. Different players doing this on national television, on side broadcast, whatever it may be. And these players are taking a risk, and they're doing it. They're doing it why? Because they have started to live like they believe in God, like our quote says. Little quote throwback. But yes, they have truly received this, and they're trying their best to live it out. And they still may fail. These athletes, they're not perfect people. What do you know? That's crazy. They're not perfect. Nobody is, guys. Nobody is. So don't be quick to just judge them for something that may happen when you see this or that. Try to be loving. And if they're trying to do this, whether it be C.J. Stroud, the Houston Texans quarterback, Tua, the Alabama football team, any football team that kneels down, this is a great movement. We need to be supporting this. We need to be spreading this. We need as many people praying, because our world needs so many prayers. We need, even though this quote, I want to go back on the quote. I want to say we need more people that believe in God. Crazily gets our quote. But we need more people to start acting that they believe in God. This is a perfect way. This is a great way. Just like I talked about with myself through sports. These people have been given incredible athletic ability. It would be a waste to not use this and try to play professionally in college. But there's also a way for them to glorify God through it, and they're trying their best to do that. So, a beautiful thing to see. Do you have anything else on that? No, he does not. So, yeah, that is our Shepherds of the Week. And now, we'll transition into our final segment, talking about this here quote.
Oh, okay.
Did what?
No, I didn't know I thought we were done talking about the quote.
Just a final takeaway for the day.
Oh, final takeaway.
Final takeaway for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I will begin. Whether it's from us, whether it's from the athletes we talked about, the musicians we talked about on this show, whatever it may be that triggers you to start acting like you believe in God. Or if you've already started this and something helps you deepen that life of believing in God, whatever it may be, use it. Whatever motivation you need, whatever fire you need to be lit inside of you, harness it. God has given you incredible gifts. Incredible gifts. We are so thankful that you're listening. We are hoping that we help you. Please feel free to comment us, message us, whatever you guys need. We are here for you. We are trying the best that we can to act like we believe in God, because we truly do. But we know that our actions are not perfect all the time. We know that we fail. But we are thankful that we have you guys, and we are able to talk on this platform and to be open with you guys as much as possible. We just hope that we can help you guys in any way that we can. And whatever you guys need, please reach out and reach out to each other. This is a community. We are all one in Christ. We are all on the same path, on the same goal, trying to get to heaven. We need to bring more people into it. Yes, this quote says that we don't need more people to believe. Yes, we do. We need as many people as we possibly can get. God loves everyone, and he has the mercy and passion to welcome us all into heaven. That's what he truly wants and desires. It's up to us, the church here on earth, to act like we believe, to trust in him, and to do his will, and to live out his mission for each one of us. So, here you go, Cole.
So, you hear that? Did you hear that? You're good. Okay. Anyways, so I was gonna give my final takeaway since we're doing final takeaways. last week I talked roller coaster metaphor. I talked about how the faith life is just like a roller coaster. Well, I'm about to do the exact same thing, but different, right? The faith life is like a roller coaster, right? And you have all of these different people that are walking by this roller coaster, hearing these people shout and scream and yell out of joy, excitement, and fear all at the exact same time. That defines your faith life, right? They would not know that that roller coaster is fun if it was completely silent, right? As you're going up and down these hills and as you're yelling and screaming, by yelling and screaming and showing fear and showing joy and just letting yourself out, you are allowing the people that's around you to want to go to that roller coaster because it looks like it's going to be the most exhilarating, but also the most scary, right? The faith life is not something that is going to consistently be easy. It's not, right? It's going to make you scared sometimes, and that's okay, right? Remember, at every bottom, there's a top. At every top, there's an end to the journey, and that is to heaven, right? So please remember, the more you yell, the more you shout, the more you confess the amount of fear that you have in your faith, and the more that you show vulnerability to the world. And I'm not telling you to say all your deepest, darkest secrets or whatever. I'm just saying be vulnerable with your faith life to other people. The more other people are going to find it attractive. So remember, the faith life is like a roller coaster. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We will be back next week. I can promise you that. We're going to do it. We will. We failed last week after 1 week of promises. So this time, I'm going to promise it. It's going to happen. We will be back next week. Thank you guys so much for listening. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lost Sheep Podcast. I'm Nazario Pangallo here with
Cole Bissett.